Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you can all hear me. Norman Younger here. Thank you very much for taking off some time at what was a very busy point in the year to listen to me speak about 2017, a year of challenge and opportunity. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in and I'll do my best to answer them. Before we start, I'd like to just pose a question and see what response we get. The question is, are you optimistic for your practice's prospects in 2017? So we've got three options: yes, no, or not given any thought. So what are people going to respond? You can quickly fill that in and then I'll continue. Okay, interesting there. It's fluctuating quite a lot here. At one point it was overwhelmingly one way, now it's a little bit more like a Brexit poll. All the votes, and only 2/3 of the people who voted, so we've got a few votes to come in. At the moment it's with 2/3 of people having responded to the question, it's 50-50. So for every one of you who is optimistic, there's another one who is not optimistic. So let's have a look at challenges and opportunities for 2017. It has to be remembered, of course, that whenever there is a challenge, if you've got the right frame of mind, there is, of course, an opportunity. Okay, for me, the challenges the profession is facing, they commenced back in 1996. On the 6th of April was the starting gun for that, which was self-assessments, which changed everything from the point of view of how the revenue was interacted with. I was not long qualified at that point, and I could certainly see the differences from obviously before that time. And it made me think whether I wanted to continue in practice, and I actually discontinued in practice at that point. And also, there is a view that the challenges also started when advertising was opened up to professions in the 1980s. Perhaps that was a real start to what we see now with what can be cutthroat competition. We're not actually facing lowballing for fees at the moment, but a number of accountants have reported to me that they do feel pressure on fees quite a lot. So challenges are named as challenges for two reasons. First of all, it forces us to examine how we think and we operate. And secondly, it's only negative if we ignore these challenges or we fail to respond adequately. As you'll be well aware, the world is a very fast-moving place, and sometimes the changes creep up on you and overtake you without you realizing what's going on. So another question for you at this point is, does your practice have a strategy in place to address change? Let's see what the answers come back on this one. Last one was 50-50. Okay, we've got about half the votes in, and 80% of you have no strategy in place. Some of you will find that surprising. I suppose the 20% of you who have got a strategy will find that surprising. Okay. So here are some of the current challenges which you're facing. Some of them you'll know about, obviously, and others you won't know about. Our friend RTI, a real pain in the neck, more pressure to get information off clients, especially if you're doing the books for them, the things like wages, you're doing it for them. Making tax digital, that's the one which is going to be a major disruptor. Whether it works remains to be seen. But I think one of the issues there which a lot of firms are going to face is that a system will not work properly. That's almost a given. But you will be the one who will be under pressure because there's going to be a lot of wasted time dealing with client problems as a result of making tax digital. and the clients are going to ask, why have the fees gone up? And it's very, very difficult to find a way to respond that you can make them feel that you've done your best and that the fault lies with the government because the software doesn't work, the interface doesn't work, whatever it is that doesn't work is taking up more of your time. So you need to think about how to perhaps condition your clients going forwards that making tasks digital is not your problem, it's their problem as well. Automatic enrollment, more paperwork, more issues there. Again, it's a challenge. However, it's an opportunity for you to engage with your clients, to have the conversation with them, perhaps to talk to somebody who can look after this for you, a pensions company. How many of you have actually visited the website, which is there, the pensionsregulator.gov.uk, business advisors? I bet many of you haven't heard of the site, and those who have, many of you have not bothered going to it. Another challenge is our old friend, the commoditization, that everything, the basic work and everything seems to be coming down and down and down in price as the software does more and more and more. And lack of client loyalty, clients leaving you either because they feel you're not doing enough, or they feel they get a better service somewhere else, or simply because they want to see if they can get it cheaper. In life, you get what you pay for. They might want it cheaper. They might settle for an inferior service. One of the problems which we face, which the profession faces when it comes to dealing with the lack of client loyalty, when it's a fee issue, is the client doesn't know what they're missing very often by going somewhere else. You can buy an inferior brand of any product on the market, and you're making a choice. You know that it's an inferior brand. It may not last as long. The warranty might not be as good. The service might not be up to scratch when you phone the helpline. But when it comes to things like tax planning and making sure that everything's taken advantage of legally and above board, a lot of these accountants doing it on the cheap, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know the opportunities, which is of course reflected in the price. So it's your job to keep your clients, is to make them aware of why they should be with you. Staff loyalty is another one. Career planning, people jump ship very easily. We live in a society where it's easier than ever to look for new jobs through things like LinkedIn and such like, and other sites. So staff are always looking around, many of them, to see, well, can I better my career somewhere else? Perhaps they've got legitimate career plans, but you, as their boss, as their principal, perhaps as their trainer, are not allowing them to develop properly along that career path. If you nurture a member of staff and build them up, very often they could be the right person to take your practice over when you're thinking of succession, when the day comes. Think of it perhaps as an academy for young players, which the football clubs are well known for. Another item here is the famous expression, unknown unknowns. The changes that we don't know are coming and are often unseen or from unexpected quarters. I mean, who's to say that some American company isn't going to land on the UK shores tomorrow and just storm the accounting profession for a lot of the smaller clients and offer them something there is no way you can compete with? We don't know. We'll see tomorrow morning if it comes to fruition. Okay, let's have a look at another question before we go on to the next screen. Which one of the following do you consider your firm to be? And you can tick I think more than one box there. How do you perceive yourself? I've got a very big turnout here. 3/4 of you have voted now, and 2/3 of the people who voted have actually plumped for the trusted business advisor, which is one of my favorites, which I tell accountants all the time, that's what you have to become. People automatically think of accountants, they think business advisors, but in reality, a lot of accountants are actually not up to scratch as a business advisor. So there is work to be done to get to that place to make sure there's no expectations gap. And 11% of you have never given it any thought, which is Interesting, but there you are. Let's have a look at the next page. How to be prepared for it. Okay, so the first thing is to keep up to date at the micro level, which means the detailed changes in legislation which are affecting you. Not as easy as it seems, but most of the stuff is going to be there in your professional journals online, and also changes happening in your locally in your marketplace, locality where you practice from. Get to feel at the macro level. That's looking a bit wider. You might be dealing with subcontractors perhaps. There might be changes legislatively. Our old friend IR35 in and out the news, or something similar which will affect it. You've got general economic activity. Is a recession expected? Our old friend Brexit, what will happen? Nobody knows what will happen, but have you had the conversation with your clients? And I surveyed a number of smaller firms before the vote, back in February, March and April, and most of them are coming back to me saying, well, it doesn't really affect my clients, but it does, because there's always a knock-on effect somewhere. And sure as day follows night, I said to them, if something happens to one of your clients because of Brexit or perceived as Brexit, you're going to get a phone call saying, well, you're an accountant, you're a business advisor, why did you not, why didn't you say something to prepare me for this? The answer now, the next one is choose what works. Lots of you already have something which is working, and some of you will be thinking of what can we try. And if you try various things out, various strategies, whether it's marketing, whether it's client engagement, whether it's social media, whatever it might be, focus on what works and be regular about it. You see so many businesses, accountants as well, and they sign up for all these various social media outlets, whether it's Twitter, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Pinterest, whatever it might be, or Google+, all these things, and it's virtually impossible to keep up to date across the board and keep on top of everything. One of my favorites is actually Twitter, both for the Maximity. I send things out on Twitter from time to time, and I also use Twitter for a retail online business which I have got. The retail business actually uses Facebook, which I'm proud to say I do not operate myself, never used Facebook. One of the members of staff has the dubious honour of doing that, but we find it works. If it works, keep on at it. Next thing we've got here is professional websites. Look at these professional websites. I'm a favourite of Accounting Web. You've got other websites, there's various accounting fora out there. You can make a name for yourself in a forum by asking questions for a small business in a small business forum, but find one you like and keep connected with it. Okay, yeah, again, there's forums I just mentioned, either within these sites or an external one which is not linked to any particular publication, independent. You've got your own body websites, whichever institute regulates you, and you've got the magazines. And here's an interesting one, which I have a few of you squirming uneasily in your seats, is talk to your competitors. Yep, you actually do read correctly. Talk to your competitors. I did it for many years when I was in the company formation business. We struck up good relationships, and we shared our problems, and a problem shared is a problem halved. We put our heads together. We used to meet across the industry, meetings, sometimes one-to-one, sometimes collectively, and you get interesting ideas come up. And of course, is attending events, whether it's a local or national, it's networking or something. I attend Accountex. It's an annual event. I spend time there. I meet people who I built a relationship with, and I find out things which are going on in the profession, which otherwise I may not have found out about. Wherever you're going to be doing, you need to become nimble and change your mindset. A lot of people, it's a case of changing the mindset. Be prepared to change. Get into gear, think change can happen and it's not a bad thing, but do it quickly. Not rashly, do it quickly. Think about it. With the holiday period coming up before the January tsunami, take some time to discuss it, perhaps with family members, perhaps with close friends, again, the competitors. Have the chat, have the conversation, see what opportunities there are out there for you, because at the end of January, you're going to be thinking again of what you're going to be doing, what you should be doing. And if those who haven't got anything in place already, it can be quite grim, some of the thoughts which they have at the beginning of February. I know, because my phone starts ringing off the cradle. And then share your worries, as I mentioned, either an accountant or someone to mentor you. There's nothing wrong, especially if you're sort of newish to practice, is to say find a mentor, whether it's a businessman or ideally, of course, another more experienced accountant or any third party. Get a mentor. You'd be surprised what ideas you get when you talk to others. So the last thing on this page is that you should identify opportunities, keep an open mind, and here, of course, have a cash pile to invest. What do I mean by that? Well, the cash pile is cash. Cash is king, as they say. Investment can take various forms for your accountancy business. It could be investing in a decent website, something social media, investing in someone part-time to come in and run that social media for you. And if it could be something simple as email shots to business databases. If you know how to write an email shot properly, they can be absolutely killer app, as they say, in terms of bringing in business. It takes time to get it right, but once you've got it, it cannot be beaten, because of course the marginal cost is more or less zero, apart from perhaps renting the list or sending out above a certain threshold on some of the programs. Or investment could be to buy a local firm, another firm to get more fees in very quickly. Okay, it is time, people, for another question. That's an interesting one here. Okay, how many chargeable hours a week do you charge? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what you've got to answer here. Half of you are voting at the moment as an overwhelming majority of you, way over 80%, are charging between 21 to 30 hours a week. Not many charging more than 31. So the question some of you might wish to ask is, why do some guys get more chargeable hours than others? Or perhaps you're doing too much paperwork, which someone else could be doing who could bring in to do that for you. Okay, let's have a look at the next page. Okay, so what's on the horizon? One of the ones which I personally believe in, and I've spoken to people outside of the profession, and it's about regionals. We've had lots of talk in past months, certainly since the devolution, Max and all these things. Devo Max kicked off an independence, about the regions of England as well, the northwest, the northeast, the southwest, such and like. I think that as regional policy plays a greater part in government, you'll find there is more money to be given out regionally, as where I am based at the moment in the northwest of England, for example, the NHS budget. And as more money gets devolved regionally to be given out, firms with more of a presence in a region, I believe, will be able to be at that table and say to the government bodies, we can help with your business policies, and we can be a bridge to business champions in the region. So some of you, I know, are sort of building up your base to have offices scattered throughout the region, and it's certainly something worth thinking of. It's quite a big reach, but if you can make this work, you'll certainly be in a good position going forward. Now, external investments. This is something which has kept me quite busy in the last 6 to 12 months, and I expect to be very busy with it next year. I'm already working for people who want to invest in accountancy firms. Either they are qualified accountants themselves or sleeping partners who want to put somebody in. Don't underestimate investors. The power of them. They're waking up to the profession as a cash cow. The secret is out. The cat is out the bag. People out there realizing there's a lot of money to be made in accountancy practices. Obviously, some will do it better than others. But the question is, could your practice be attractive to an outside investor? Are you big enough to attract outside investment? Perhaps you need to merge another firm, get to critical mass, and then you can get outside investment. For young firms growing quickly, there are attractions. For firms long established looking for an exit route, people might be in their 50s or 60s, it can be an excellent way of getting the cash now, being able to continue working. Which takes us up to another question. How do you actually view non-accountants buying into practices as investments? What's your view of it? 3 choices there. Let's see what you think. Let's keep these votes coming in, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's all over the place. Numbers going up and down like a yo-yo. A few more votes to come in still. And what is quite clear is that only 14% have a favourable view. Well, it's gone down to 13% now. That's marvellous, isn't it? And about half of you really haven't got a view, which is interesting. The question is, for those who view it unfavourably, a substantial minority, is it perhaps time to change your mindset? Some food for thought over the coming weeks, perhaps. Okay, next is a red arrow there. Coming under a group, perhaps joining together other accountants, an established group, creating a new group for some of you might be a bit more adventurous and entrepreneurial. Retain your own identity, but you have that greater opportunity for operational support in a number of ways. Okay, online growth using technology for nimble startups, where you can start a firm now very, very easily. You can start a firm from even without a desk. You can start it from your pocket now with technology. These are threats to your operation in some ways, because the startups locally to you could steal some of your share of the pie. It's unlikely to sink any of you, because no one's going to actually go for your own clients, especially as your clients are probably going to want some sort of high street presence. I'm seeing more and more firms now I'm talking to who are completely, totally virtual firms. They do not meet their clients. Everything is literally done online. So the question is whether your practice could develop an online presence in such a way that you aim to be completely online, or online perhaps for all new clients in the coming months and years. Which is, yeah, downsizing, going online totally. Perhaps subcontract the fiddly bits, so you be lean, mean, and of course very, very profitable. Make next year, 2017, the year of marketing, both on and offline. This is what should be in your horizon, on your timeline. It's not rocket science, and with a small budget you can do a huge amount. With the old caveat, beware of the con man who can promise you jam tomorrow. Because if you don't know what you're doing online, you can burn thousands of pounds very quickly for very, very little return. So talk to other people outside of the people who are going to try and strip you of your cash. Now, we've heard of MDPs, multidisciplinary practices. Tends to be with the larger firms, but some of the smaller firms do work more informally. Perhaps they've got a link to a firm of solicitors or an investment company, pension company. Give it some thought about how you could work more closely with one of these. Perhaps have a clinic in their office once a month, and one of their people can have a clinic in your office once a month. Yeah, free clinic. People expect something for nothing. It's a great way to prove your mettle. And online, I do a huge amount of this. I give out free advice. I talk to people. Hey guys, ladies, gentlemen, you're in a free webinar. I'm giving something for nothing. It's a way of proving expertise, connecting to people, giving people ideas. Some of the people will go off there with your ideas and they'll go someone else, but you know, that's the way of the world. Some people will come back to you and want to use your services. But this is the environment in which many businesses operate these days. That's it's just part of life. You have to give something for nothing. Okay, there's room for one more thing on the screen here. Here's our old favorite, the value added, pitching as a value added. What's your speciality, and what focus can you give? How can you help your clients? Why should they come to you? What are they getting? What do they expect from you? Advisory work, special work for business reports, cash flows, etc., is very, very lucrative. And you know, sometimes just focusing on smaller things, less can be more. pick out the value added, and that's where the value for your company is. Funnily enough, this afternoon, a friend of mine who's works in the building trade, he's in the ventilation business, he told me he left his accountant. This afternoon he finally left. I've been telling him for some time, he's been grumbling, saying he doesn't get this advice, he doesn't get that advice. What's he get for his money from his accountant? And I explained, either you go to the accountant and say, I need wisdom, advice. I want to buy a house, I need help, mortgages, or to put money aside, I'm making money. Nothing. So he sent an email to the accountant at lunchtime explaining he was leaving. The poor chap phoned me up to say he just met him 20 minutes later in the street, and the accountant came up to him and says, "Why are you leaving?" But it's too late at that point to have that conversation. And for many of you, it's one of the unknown unknowns lurking behind you, but really these are known knowns, because if you're not giving value added to your clients, someone else is going to take them away from you. So you don't want to leave it too late. Perhaps it's a case of thinking your clients don't value you properly. You've got to make them believe and understand and see tangibly what you can bring to the table for them. So we do have some of the old threats which are gaining momentum, and you need to be aware of these. Mundane work, as you said, commoditization is going to leak away. For many of you, cash will tighten, and there will come a point where it gets a certain momentum, and it will happen quickly. And you don't want to wait until it's too late. Let's go round from north to east. If you don't keep up to the changes and being on top of it, it will bite you doubly, both in the income, which is going to be leaking away, and the value of your practice. Because remember, your practice is probably, after your house, the second most valuable asset you've got. And as your income leaks away, the value of your practice, the capital value, is going to erode. And you can get to the point where you could lose 50, 60, 70, 80, 100,000 pounds over the next 10 years. What for? It's completely avoidable. Go south now. As I say, these lead to a vicious spiral, which again, those with cash would be an opportunity, as some practitioners get fed up. My phone rings every day or so. They're fed up with the changes, real-time information, making tax digital, automatic enrollment, and who knows what else around the corner. And they're saying, we're just fed up to this. We're losing clients. We just can't keep up with it. This is an opportunity for many of you out there to buy someone up. So are you going to survive? Or are you going to fall victim? And if you go westwards, is the story I was just telling. The clients will say, have you heard of? Or people will ask, why is my accountant not that ... I mean, I've been hearing this for 20 years from people, from friends of mine and colleagues, when they meet me. What do you have to say about such and such? Do you give this kind of advice to your clients? When I was in practice, why does my accountant not tell me what to do with my surplus cash? These are the sort of things which some of your clients might be doing behind your back. And if they are doing that, you won't know about it until it's too late. So what are your options? Well, there's lots of change, lots of opportunity there for buyers and sellers. Some want to retire. If you want to retire 5, 10 years time, 3, whenever it is, you need to get your house in order now, because as these changes take place, people who might want to buy your practice want to check that you're in tip-top condition. If they see a practice in decline, they may not want to buy you, they may not give you what it's really worth. And for buyers as well, the buy opportunities for buyers is there. Go out there, look for stuff, snap up practices. You might find a practice which is in terminal decline. Go for it. A lot of the practitioners, we're only too glad for you to show them a way out. You could, of course, throw in the towel and sell up before your firm goes over the cliff edge. A bit dramatic, that one, but it does happen. People will wake up on the 1st of February and say, that's it, I've had enough. Have a Valium butty for breakfast, and then phone up their accountancy broker. Do nothing. Just gracefully glide into retirement, hoping the changes will not overwhelm you before you get to the finishing line. It's a course of action which people take. They cannot be bothered with selling and succession. Usually the smaller practice where it's they've not got so many clients left, and they don't want to be tied in. They don't need the money, but it's perhaps the path of least resistance. But these clients are leaking away somewhere. But the question is, where are they going, and are they coming to you? Get active as a buyer. Have a plan in place to gobble up practices that we've discussed above. For whatever you do, get cracking with a cohesive plan. Even if that plan says, you know what, I'm going to get out of this, draw a plan, because make sure if you're going to do that, you do it to maximize the value of what your practice is worth. And now this is the final question, okay, for the afternoon. Here's an interesting one. Do you feel adequately remunerated as a practitioner? Let's see what you've got to think, whether you feel loved by your clients. Oh dear, I'm going to get my tissue out and start crying. Oh dear, 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 ladies and gentlemen. 73% of you voted, which is 79% of you voted, and 73% of that says no, they don't feel adequately remunerated. Well, I think the answer lies in one person's hands. Who do you think that person is? It's you. So, let's have a look at a couple of wild cards to end off with, which are worth pondering nonetheless. The wild cards: protection of the word accountant. Just imagine it would push up the value of many practices. Nothing in recent years, and I really don't think it's high on the government's agenda, so don't bank any boost from fees there. And it's unlikely to threaten any unqualified or mixed firms who can't actually call themselves chartered or certified on their letterhead. Brexit influence, again, my old friend Brexit, it's a fantastic excuse, an example of an excuse to create awareness of your firm by engaging with your clients, make noise, have the debate, go out there in early 2017, at the end of this year, send emails out to them, phone them up, send letters saying, you know, have a survey amongst your clients. This is the sort of thing which is an opportunity for you, but Brexit will definitely be there next year in one way or another to influence your firm's prosperity and that of your clients. So, thank you very much for listening, everybody. If you've got any queries, you can phone me. I'm happy to answer your calls or emails. You can have a chat online now. I'm going to keep the screen open for a wee bit longer. Yeah, that's it. I wish you all the best over the holidays, and I wish you a very easy January 2017 and a very prosperous and stress-free 2017. Thank you very much. Good evening.